Hello again. Continuing my series on spiritual warfare, found in Ephesians 6. Most translations begin Paul's section on spiritual warfare with the words "Be strong in the Lord." Those are great, great preaching words. Be strong in the Lord. The only problem is that Paul didn't write those words. And one thing I thought about that is with this command is that I'm sure we've all tried it and we don't know how to do it. And we've run out of steam and we've given up. And for those with strong personalities or giftings, you can feed off your own strength for quite a while and then blame others when they don't seem to get it. But Paul did not tell you to be strong in the Lord, as the Lord told Joshua. And don't hear what I'm not saying, because sometimes you need to grab your own soul by the collar and tell it to be strong. But Paul starts this section by saying, be strengthened in the Lord and in the mightiness of his power. This is a passive verb. And in the passive voice, the subject, which is you and me, is being acted upon. It's not doing the action. Paul is commanding you to let God strengthen you. Paul has spent the entire letter contrasting what living in Christ is with living in your own strength. By grace through faith is a major theme of Ephesians and stands opposed to you living by some set of rules through your own effort. By default, you live in the latter, by some set of rules which you've decided to keep, and then you try to keep them in your own strength, which is futile. So unless you really come to grasp the concept of the grace of God, unless it crashes your consciousness and disorients you, you're going to continue to live your own life without knowing it in your own strength under a set of laws, and probably constantly repenting and returning and repenting and returning. Paul did. Read Romans 7. He had a much stronger disposition than you, and with all of his being tried to do the Christian life. Only when he acknowledged his inability did he discover living in the Spirit, or living a life by grace through faith. Grace is not just something God dispenses or a definition. It is not just God's riches at Christ's expense or what God has done for us. Paul saw grace clearly as an other world atmosphere. It was the air he breathed in, and faith is what he exhaled. Too often the air we breathe are the shoulds and shouldn'ts of life, and what we exhale is I'll try harder, or I can't, or I'm such a loser, or I'm giving up, or why am I still angry? Anyway, Paul said, be strengthened in the Lord. The obvious implication is that you are not strong in yourself, and how true that is, and it's not because of sin. You were made weak. God created the angels to excel in strength. David wrote that in Psalm 103. Angels excel in strength. They have their own internal battery that never needs charging. They don't eat. They don't sleep. They don't poop. Maybe this is why the devil fell, because he forgot that he needed God, even though he was made without apparent need. You and I, however, are made with all need. You and I excel in weakness. And God made you that way. He made you with all need. Adam needed to eat and sleep. He needed to learn obedience through the things that he experienced. He needed to be plugged into the one who supplies all need and who himself is the very supply. And Jesus alluded to this when he talked about abiding in me and I in you, as a branch cannot bear fruit of itself unless it abide in the vine. You read those verses, that's what Jesus was talking about. If you can see your need as your friend, if you can see the situations which reveal your fault lines as God calling you to himself, you're starting to get it. And day by day, you will more clearly begin to realize that the grace of God is the atmosphere in which you live, and why Paul said, be strengthened in the Lord. Sin, by the way, is a subset of need. And I'm not minimizing sin, but I am maximizing the God who has already forgiven you even before you asked, and has his arms open wide. Sin is God making you doubly aware of your need of him. So when you sin, it is God's call for you to find the one who knows you better than you do and who loves you more than you can imagine. It's not a call for you to beat yourself up. So be strengthened in the Lord and in his mighty power. See the stressors of life. See your failures and your foibles. See your anxieties and fears as God calling you to himself. This is being strengthened in the Lord. And this is the path to finding his power to live with all of the incongruities of life, to live in him. And I'm going to continue on this theme for the next couple posts before I get into spiritual warfare, the armament, because when you are weak, then you are strong. And only as you live in a constant awareness of your lack can you be strengthened in him and do spiritual warfare, whatever that is. For now, ask God to make you aware of your inabilities and weaknesses. In fact, excel in your weaknesses. Celebrate your inability. Paul said that he rejoiced when he was weak. This is so counterintuitive and countercultural that it must be God. It must be God. This is kingdom thinking. This is learning to live by grace through faith. Beloved, one of the greatest gifts God can give you is felt need. So don't beat yourself up when you blow it or when life blows up around you. Rejoice. Get excited as you mourn your loss. The devil who thinks he is strong and in control is really very, very weak. You who are weak and very weak and totally dependent upon God is strong. So, till next time.